Welcome to Gifts, Episode 1, How to Start a Story, Orientation, Threshold, and the Hook, with Scott Knoll. Hi, I'm Scott Knoll. In this video series, we'll take a look at basic narrative structure through the lens of a typical short story submission. In each reading period, we receive hundreds of stories, many of which are well-written and promising, yet often they fall off the rails by trying too hard, explaining too much, or missing some basic elements of story structure. To start, I want to make a caveat. All stories need not follow the exact story structure we're going to deal with in this series. As with any art, storytelling has sufficient history, variety, and subtlety to last a lifetime in the learning. That said, there are some generally agreed upon basics that are good to know. For writers at the beginner to intermediate levels, many of the stories we see would be improved by considering a simple narrative structure and making sure a few of the basics are covered. I'm not going to claim that if you follow our lead, you'll sell your next story or win an award, but if you give it a try, your next submission to Dreamforge is likely to rise into the top 20% under consideration. From there, more subtle and some random factors come into play that we hope to discuss in a future series. So let's get started. In episode 1 of our video series Gifts, we're going to take a look at a short story entitled Gifts and see what we can do to polish it up and make it a stronger submission. Gifts, Opening and Orientation. Either I would die in my basement, or I would open the doors and fly out like Superman. And I was never going to fly. I had spared no effort in making my subterranean space affordable. If you soak your own beans and boil your own rice, a disability check goes a long way. Cheap bookshelves and superhero posters covered the cinder block walls. In short, at the age of 36, I had comfortably retreated from life, making my peace within a universe of only 800 square feet, bound up in a small world lit by efficient LEDs and made bearable by shelf after shelf laden with science fiction and superhero comics, a few graphic novels, and my art supplies. I kind of like the first sentence. It's a bit intriguing. So we'll go with that for now. There's nothing wrong with the next 100 words either. They orient the reader to the narrator's basement world, perhaps cluing us in that we're dealing with a recluse. If we can improve this, what I'd like to see in the first 100 to 200 words, in addition to orienting us to the world of the story, the who, what, when, where, and why, is a hint of the speculative element, along with the appearance of the inciting incident or threshold event. That's just two ways of saying the same thing. I want to see the signal that the story is about to start, taking the protagonist away from whatever their stable, comfortable situation is, and opening the door to the adventure of the story. By my mid-30s, I had spared no effort in making my subterranean space a practical refuge, and that was before the benefaction, the gifting, or the invasion, whatever you wanted to call it. Still, my illusion of independence was quick to shatter. Bridget, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be leaving. Mars, I think. I heard the words and blocked them at the same time. It was Callie, and she was cutting off my lifeline. I hung up on her quickly, as if she hadn't called, and when my phone rang again, I didn't wait for her to speak. They don't deliver anymore, I yelled as if that would end any argument. Who doesn't? Callie asked. Anyone. Groceries, Amazon, post office. What do you need? You know there's probably a dozen cylinders right outside your door. No, I'm not going out. I'm not. It's snowing and I can't get heating oil. All right. The word was drawn out. There are a lot of preppers who aren't going anywhere. I can get you connected. I need you. A pained sigh. Callie's next words carried the weight of annoyance. What do you need? I'm running out of Bristol board, and I want some new radiograph pens. Please? Originally, the story drew in too much backstory too early, at the expense of moving the action forward, bringing in the speculative element, and hooking the reader by introducing the character to a threat. Now, in the first 200 words, we know our protagonist is Bridget. She's in her mid-30s, confined to her basement since before the invasion, and it's winter outside, but she has no heating oil. Callie, who may be a friend, sibling, or relative, is concerned but frustrated. Apparently, Bridget can solve all of her problems by going outside to retrieve a cylinder, whatever they may be. Bridget's call for "I need you" is the threshold event. Whatever the weird status quo was, it's about to be broken. The story is starting. Before Callie could answer, something bad happened. The call dropped and the ground trembled, in that order. The house shook and the basement walls groaned. If it had been a car flying downhill out of control with my porch as its destination, it could not have made a stronger impact. My knees buckled with fright, and I went down, hitting my head against the table as I did so. At first, I thought I'd knocked myself senseless, but the darkness I experienced was the power going down. Basements can be blacker than night when the lights go out. So what have we accomplished? As far as the story idea, we haven't changed much at all. Bridget is in a basement due to some character flaw, apparently unrelated to the invasion. We can guess it might be agoraphobia, but we're not sure. Callie is an outside contact, and Bridget needs her to bring new art supplies, which concern her more than if she has heat for the winter. There's been an invasion, also referred to as the benefaction or the gifting. The speculative element is strong. The ground shakes and the lights go out. The reader has been hooked. What happens next? From its catchy opening, orientation, world building, and character revelation, to taking a step beyond the threshold and firmly hooking the reader, all this in 326 words. Join us next time, and we'll continue our march through the story, changing not the story but its structure, how the narrative is presented on the page. When we're done, we'll have the original and the edited versions for your review. Ultimately, whether the new version works better or not is up to you. Dreamcasters, a discussion group. Our goal is to form a community and to help writers tell better stories. We welcome writers of all levels that love speculative fiction, or readers who are interested in writing and storytelling. We want to improve everyone's writing and storytelling through discussion and sharing expertise. And we want to increase everyone's success through awareness and sharing information about the business of writing. Join us at Dreamcasters. You can also find us on Patreon.